Gel, yes.
You've seen Elizabeth?
Yes, yes. A few invitations to exhibitions also.
I mean, it's not a thing that you look at visually, but it's something that you move into. You experience the movements of it by your perception of thinking about it. You think, you know, you pick up an idea, you pick up a movement, a structuralized movement, and it goes from one unit to another. The unit becomes the group, and then the group metamorphoses itself into another group, and just like music. One note catching with another comes a melody, then the melody finally develops into a big concept.
Oh dear.
Right. What's this one all about?
I don't quite know myself at this stage. I think that I have an idea that it will eventually develop into a concept that I have in mind, but at the moment I'm working from a framework, a format, putting down the format, which is the framework which will hold the composition, which will hold the symbols, and very much the same as I suppose the structure in music. Your emotions, as you go through concept, then your emotions rise, they fall, they can be poetic, they can be dramatic, they can be lyrical, they can be all these things within the same composition. So you have a movement here, poetic, and something over here and there and there, and finally they will come together.
You should be a philosopher.
Christ, Roger, this is a bit fancy, isn't it?
That's the way I like it.
I know, but you want lines, not holes.
That's the newest.
How long's it been in?
That's the newest technique that
rubbish.
something quite new.
You get accustomed to that kind of convention, you know, and it gets worn out after a while when you have something unusual like
No, I know, but you want to have what you draw and come up, don't you? Not these great big wide areas that are just eating out.
Jesus, Merle, I need a cup of tea. Behind this structure that I'm doing is to bring about a new order, a new format, a new order, a new revaluation of the principles. A lot of things done today are not of no value, you know, but behind it all exists the constant principle. It's all stripped, you know, like getting down to the truth or the reality of something like that. You have very little to work on, other than to face up to, you know, what it is. What I'm thinking about is trying to make people a little happier, you know, to live in the world that they're forced to live in, to sort of make conditions a little bit more livable.
Relaxer.
Thanks a lot.
A relaxer?
Well, that'll do. Thanks. No, not uninteresting for you?
No, not interesting at all.
Well, how's it looking, Neil?
No, I don't know.
No problems?
No, it might come up a little bit too strongly.
It could. It's holding a lot of ink at the
It might
moment.
bleed a little, but I think it'll be all right.
Just have to let it go. By starting at square one of the painting, where there's very little tolerance between me and creativity itself. Structurally, it's right on the dot. So what I have to work with is this tolerance within a logical concept, which is dictated to by, in this case, the sensitivity of creativity. That is to say that I'm just one tick behind creativity all the time. If I did overstep it, well, I mean, this takes away the value of life itself. So you just keep behind and respect the subtleties and the value of life, rather than to put too much weight on it. I mean, if you put too much weight on it, well, you know, out goes your value. when I'm painting one, I will paint to the right or left of the centre and create the centre indirectly, you see. So it's free all the time, and in that act you'll never catch up to it. I'm locked in the centre of it. I'm involved in the act of creating. What I'm doing now, I'm actually breaking and reconstructing the circle by the straight line, and is one end of the pole, and which is abstract, logic, reasoning, the materialistic sort of idea symbol. That's more masculine, that one. And at the other end you have the curved line, which tends to sort of be the more feminine, you see, and intuition and emotions and things of this kind would be more closely connected with that kind of symbolism. A great proportion now is subjective. That is where our direction comes from. We don't have a substantial subjective base. That means man discovering himself and knowing himself along those lines, and you get an inspired direction within that framework, which doesn't happen outside. We only project ourselves outside insofar as we have a knowledge of what to do when we do get out there. It's extending my consciousness and reacting upon my physical capacity to keep up with it. That is, you can turn a straight line. You can start off with straight lines, all standing up like soldiers, so to speak, and you just put a bit of a tilt on any one of those lines, and then you're in rhythm. The capabilities are unlimited as to what can be done with it. What you can do with the laws of physics, for instance, or what you can do with an octave in music, for instance. It is a principle which you can go on using again and again and again. It is a parallel equivalent to that kind of a principle. Then consciousness is expanded to the limits of human sort of extension. You can go so far, and then I know precisely when to stop, because I've been through these things enough to know, just how far I should go. I mean, nature sort of, says, well, this is it, and I cut off. Wherever I might be, I'll stop. Pull towards you wherever you go down. Good? Yeah. Okay? Good.
With it straight.
Ah, yes, looking good. Looking good. Yeah.
And you've got another winner.
Right, Fred?
Yeah.
Good. Take it away. Good. The act of creating comes about through an experience, actually experiencing it, you know, and that's living it. It's not just painting, it's living it and being it.